couple of years ago, my husband and I gifted each other this big TV for our living room. That was our Christmas present to each other one year. But ever since then, we've been dealing with these ugly cords hanging here. One way to deal with these would be to cut out a patch of drywall behind the TV, put in a little framing piece similar to what you have on your washer hookups, and then drop the cords behind the wall and bring them back down out at the bottom where they need to plug in. But we've come up with a different solution, which of course is going to be a lot more work. The first thing I had to do was pick out my materials, and this time I went to Lowe's. And I had initially planned on doing some 1x4 or 1x6 boards, but instead decided to go with these 1x6 tongue and groove boards. They were actually a little bit cheaper than the 1x6s, and I thought they would add a little bit more interest, and I knew they would fit together nicely. Because I like to do everything a little bit differently, instead of staining or painting the wood, I used a torch to bring out the grain of the wood and create a little bit of a burned effect. I'm about ready now to start pounding these things in. Right here, I have cut out a little notch in the wood so that the cords can drop down behind and come back out right there. Love that sound. Yes. I really should be wearing goggles for this. I'll go down and get them. All right, now, press it. This? Yep. Hey, you did it. That was scary. That was scary. Scary. Maybe a little. Something I hadn't really anticipated was that because I brought this wall out about 1.5 inches or so, I have these electrical outlets now that have to be protected. So I got some electrical extender boxes. These are available at any hardware store that sells such things. And I just pop them in there and attach these outlets so that they are well protected. And I had originally planned on stopping right below the TV, but it just didn't look right that way, so I extended it all the way up. It's done! Now, I'll be honest, I'm not totally sure that the burnt wood rustic look actually fits in my house, but it looks a lot better than a bunch of ugly cords hanging down the wall. And with the benefit of hindsight, which I now have, there are a couple things I would definitely do differently if I were ever to do this again. First of all, the electrical extender boxes were kind of an afterthought. I had already cut the holes for the outlets into the wood based on what I knew the plate would cover. And when I put the extender boxes in there, the holes were way too big, and I ended up having to add in some extra wooden pieces to have something that I could screw the electrical boxes into. So in the future, I would definitely get those extender boxes to begin with and cut the holes to that size. The other thing is that on the sides here, I wish I had left a space to put some molding or some kind of trim piece so that you're not just looking at the raw edge of all of these pieces of wood. Now, if you're interested in seeing how I built this sweet little bar, click on the link in the description to the video on my YouTube channel. Behind the TV. I did announce that I was filming.
I did not hear that you were filming.
It's because you don't listen to me. This is my life. You hear that? Hey, did you know that for every positive comment you leave, an internet troll loses their Wi-Fi? It's a win-win!